Hey guys, here we are in lesson 14, video 2. Thanks for joining us. As you can see, we are working in the book on page 119 in your Learn book. So please go there to page 119. And here's our problem. A school activity has 301. There we go. 301 students split into 43 equal-sized groups. Okay, so we need 43 kids in each group, and we have 301 kids all together. All right, so when we do word problems, we have to think about what is the dividend and what is the divisor, and how do we know, right? So thinking about that, what is the dividend and what is the divisor? There we go. That's okay. You have it in your book too. Make sure you're taking notes as we talk. So 301 students are split into 43 groups, right? So let's try a tape diagram. They can usually help us to visualize our problems. And when I check your work on your must-dos, I'm going to see drawings exactly like this because you are following along and taking notes. 301 students and 43 equal-sized groups. Not 43 in each group, like I said earlier, because that's what we're going to find out, how many are in each group, but 43 groups, right? So down here we could say 43 groups. I know, got to read carefully, don't we? All right, and we don't know how many are in each group. So there's our question mark, and we can put 3 dots here because that's going to show 43 groups, okay? Make sure you're getting that copy down. If I'm going too fast, pause me, right? You can do that. All right, so now we know we've been talking a lot about this 301, and that's the number that's being divided. So 301 is our dividend, right? Dividend. Okay, making notes, learning these words. These words are not going to go away, so please make sure that you learn them. The dividend is the big number that's being divided. Okay, and then we're dividing by 43 because that's the number of groups. So that's the divisor, right? The one doing the action. Like the teacher teaches, the runner runs, the swimmer swims, the divider divides. Yes? Okay. How are we going to estimate that, right? Remember, we just said that our first step is always going to be estimation. You know, this is not just to check for reasonableness or whatever. This is really important for your division because without that estimate, you don't know where to start. Like I usually say, to break into the problem, right? So 301 divided by 43. I'm going to think of an estimate. Let me get a red pen here. So 301, that's pretty close to 300, isn't it? Right? And then divided by 43. Now, what I like to tell people is look at your multiplication chart or think about your multiplication tables, and you're going to think about 4 and 3 or 4 and 30. 4, right? 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 8 is 32. So since this is only 301, I think I'm going to go with 28. Might be too low, but we'll find out, right? I'm going to go with 280, right? And why did I pick that? I picked that because I know about my fact family, right? 280 and 40, because 28 divided by 4 is 7, right? And the 2 zeros cross each other out. Does that make sense? So then I have 7 groups. That's my estimate, right? That's my E. And now I actually have to do the actual division with the actual numbers. Make sure that you're not forgetting the actual numbers. That's why sometimes it's helpful to write it down ahead of time before you start doing the problem, you're kind of planning what you're going to be doing. All right, so 7, and I'm saying, 280, so it's going to take the whole thing, right? Now I divided, right? 301 divided by 43, 7. Now I'm going to multiply, right? 7 times 43. So I have to do the math. 43 times 7. 7 times 3, 21. 7 times 4, just talked about it, 28. Add 2, 29, 30. Okay. Oh, look at that. 301 on the dot. So 7 times 43 is 301 on the dot. Then I subtract. 301 minus 301 is 0. I don't have anything left to bring down, so I'm not even going to bother with that step. Okay, so my answer is 7. Nice. Now I estimated, I divided. Now I have to check, right? Let's get blue for checking. And when I check, I'm going to take my quotient and I'm going to multiply it by my divisor, and then I'm going to add any remainders. Okay, so I already know that 7 times 43 is 301. I feel pretty confident, but I want to double check. 7 times 3, 21. 7 times 4, 28, 29, 30. Right? A quick check. And then I'm just going to write 7 times 43. I don't have any remainder to add on, is equal to 301. And those are all my steps, right? I estimated, I divided, and I checked. And now, since it's a word problem, I do have to write my answer in words. A school activity has 301 students split into 43 equal-sized groups. How many students are in each group? There are 7 students. I'm just going to write ST in each group. Okay, and you have a little more space than I do. I guess I should make it a little bit bigger so I have more white space there. But there we go. Number 1, make sure you have all of that stuff. All right, now, if you need to do it, pause me and do it right now, because I'm going to move on to the next problem, which is number 2, which is page 120. All right, let's see. Here we go. There's a bigger slide. Much better. There we go. Okay, so Eddie has 34 days to read a 170-page book. Oh my goodness. If he reads the same number of pages each day, how many pages does he need to read each day to finish the book in 34 days? Okay, so he's got to finish this book in time in 34 days. He knows that. And so he has 34 days to read 170 pages. He's going to read the same number of pages every day. How many does he need to read each day? Okay, so let's start with a tape diagram. Now, the tape diagram is going to represent our 170 pages, because that's where we're breaking into parts, right? And he has 34 days. So we know how many days he has, right? 34 days. Kind of like our last problem, right? 34 days. And we don't know how many pages he's reading in each day. So there's where our ... is, right? Okay, so our dividend is 170. Our divisor is 34. Okay, and then we need to estimate 170 and 34. So think about 17 and 30. Okay, think about your times tables. Think about your 3 times tables, because this could be 30. right? Okay. Oh, you know what? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. So I'm going to change this to 18, right? 180 divided by 30 is 6, because 3 times 6 is 18. The zeros come along, right? Yeah. Okay, so I think 6 is going to be a good place to break in. I'm going to start dividing with 6. I estimated. I'm dividing. 6 times 34. Okay, let's see. 34 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20. 204. Uh-oh. 204 is more than I even have here, isn't it? So it's not going to be 6. It's going to be 1 less than 6, which would be 5, right? Because I rounded up, right, I can see that that's probably the problem. My eraser does not want to erase. Okay, that's fine. Let's just cross it out. Okay, so this is going to be 5 instead. So then I have to do 34 times 5, right? This is what happens when we start with an estimate. It's okay, right? We might have to estimate up. We might have to estimate down. We're only going to go by 1 though, right? So it's going to be down to 5. That's all. 15 plus 3 is 18. That's 100. And wait, did I do something wrong? 5 times 34. 5 times 4. Oh, sorry. I was talking while working, right? 5 times 4 is 20. 15, 16, 17. That's 170. That's why we have to focus and not talk while we're working. And it comes out to exactly 170. No remainder needed, right? Divide, multiply, subtract. Okay, and then check. 34 times 5 is equal to 170. So how many pages does he have to read every day? We got to write that out. Eddie needs to read 5 pages per day. Hey, not too bad. He could probably get finished twice as fast if he read 10 pages per day. Awesome. Thanks, you guys. That's the end of video 2. I'll see you in your next video. Sorry, just looking for the place to close the video. I'm trapped. There we go. Okay, aloha.